wife. I will throw you in prison, Joseph. You will go to prison. Joseph tried to explain to Potiphar, Wait, but this is not true. Your wife is telling lies. It's not true, I promise. This made Potiphar even angrier, and Joseph was thrown into prison. Now God knew that Joseph was good, and that he was a man of honor, and so did the prison warden. The prison guard understood what had happened and appointed Joseph to be the guard over all the other prisoners. Well, Joseph was so grateful for such a kind warden, and he was also so thankful to God for watching over him and carrying him through yet another difficult time. Well, one day, 2 new prisoners arrived. One was very thin, and the other was very fat. The thin man was the Pharaoh's butler, and the fat one was the Pharaoh's baker. And with his position at the prison, Joseph was the guard of these 2 men. One day, Joseph went in to check on them in their cells and noticed immediately that they were both very depressed, very sad. And Joseph asked them why they were particularly sad that day. The butler and the baker told Joseph that both of them had had very strange dreams that night and were so confused about what these dreams could possibly mean. Now, as you may remember, Joseph knew a lot about dreams and had lots of them himself. So he told them he might be able to help them understand, interpret what their dreams could mean. So the butler began to tell Joseph his dream. He said, In my dream, I saw a grapevine with 3 branches on it. Beautiful grapes were growing on these branches. And then suddenly I realized that the king's cup was in my hand. So I pressed and squeezed, and the juice from the grapes poured into this cup, and it filled the cup to the top. I then handed this cup to the king. Joseph, what does this dream mean? Joseph sat quietly for a moment, and then looked at the butler and said, I know what this dream means. The 3 branches in your dream represent 3 days. In 3 days, the king will set you free from prison. After that, you will be appointed his butler once again, and you will hand him his wine, as you have always done in years past. You, dear butler, will be leaving this prison in 3 days to return to your life as it was. This is a very, very good dream. The baker then stood up and said, Joseph, what does my dream mean? Joseph told the baker to now tell him his dream. The baker said, In my dream, there were 3 baskets filled with cakes in my hand. But it was so strange because there were birds flying all around me, circling me everywhere, and they were pecking and eating and nibbling, gobbling up these cakes. Joseph, what does my dream mean? Joseph looked sadly at the baker and said, I am so sorry to tell you this, but your dream means that in 3 days from now, the king will put you on trial, find you guilty, and you will be sentenced to death. I cannot lie to you, baker, and I'm so sorry to tell you this, but this is what your dream means. Joseph said, This is what I know to be the meaning of your dreams. Dear butler, I do hope that you will help me be free from prison when you are out. And baker, my sincere and deepest condolences to you. And 3 days later, the Pharaoh had a birthday, and he made a big party for himself. And just as Joseph had predicted, the butler had been set free, and the baker was hanged. Well, the butler forgot all about Joseph, and 2 years went by. One day, the prison keeper said...